Joe's busy day, or a day in the life of a computer programmer. Joe was a computer programmer, and like most programmers, he had a love-hate relationship with his job. His day started at 9 a.m. with a large cup of coffee in hand, ready to tackle whatever the world, or rather the code, threw at him. First up on his to-do list, auditing and debugging code. This was like being a detective, but instead of finding out who stole the cookie from the cookie jar, Joe was trying to figure out why the program was crashing every time someone tried to save their work. After an hour of staring at the screen, muttering to himself and scribbling notes, Joe found the culprit. A missing semicolon. A semicolon. The tiniest villain, he chuckled to himself as he fixed the error. Next, it was time for coding new software. Joe always felt a bit like a wizard casting spells when he wrote new code. He imagined his fingers dancing over the keyboard, conjuring up new features and functionalities. Today, he was working on a feature that would allow users to customize their profiles with fun avatars. As he typed away, he imagined users happily changing their avatars to silly pictures of cats, superheroes, and maybe even a dancing banana or two. Mid-morning brought a meeting with his boss, Carol, and a few co-workers. Joe often thought these meetings could be emails, but he didn't mind too much. They were a nice break from staring at lines of code. Today's meeting was about the upcoming project deadlines. Carol emphasized the importance of communication and teamwork, to which Joe nodded enthusiastically while doodling a tiny dragon on his notepad. After the meeting, Joe dove into monitoring the performance of finished programs. This part of the job felt a bit like being a babysitter. He checked the system logs, looking for any signs of trouble. Occasionally, a program would throw a tantrum, and Joe would have to soothe it with some tweaks and patches. Today, everything seemed to be running smoothly, so he took a moment to enjoy his second cup of coffee. By mid-afternoon, Joe had a call with a client. The client wanted some changes to the software Joe had developed. "Could we make the buttons bigger and maybe change the color to something more cheerful?" the client asked. Joe assured them it was no problem at all. After the call, he made the changes, chuckling at the idea of cheerful buttons. As the clock struck 5 p.m., Joe saved his work and shut down his computer. He stretched, feeling a sense of accomplishment. It had been a typical day filled with problem-solving, creative coding, and a bit of lighthearted banter with co-workers and clients. Joe headed home, looking forward to a relaxing evening. As he walked out the door, he couldn't help but think, another day, another bug squashed. Tomorrow, we take on the world, one semicolon at a time.